Hey everyone, decided to do another one of these news roundup videos because people seem to like it last time. We've got lots of good news this week, with Aguero signing a new contract, and we've got De Bruyne's injury update too. But there's also some bad news with Mendy, and yeah, you can see here when I'll be talking about these different things, so you can go to that part of the video if you've just come for that. I've got to talk first about Aguero's new contract. He's extended his contract by 1 year, so he's now going to be staying until 2021 instead of 2020. And out with the three club legends currently at City, Company, Silva, and Aguero, he was the only one set to not be here for 10 years at the end of his contract. So it's good that that's been sorted now, and he will have been here 10 years when he leaves. And that time just flew by because I still remember his debut against Swansea, that great goal from dead far out. And yeah, he did actually say in the interview he's done since signing the contract that he did want to be here for 10 years. He's currently been here 7 years. And we've got Silva that's been here 8 years because he signed in 2010 and he's going to be leaving in 2020 unless he extends the contract, but he probably won't. But it's just great news. Part of me's kind of sad because if you saw All or Nothing, you'll know that he seems kind of lonely here, but I've got to be selfish in the situation and be happy that he signed for another year because he's just a magical football player, and getting to see him for one extra year just makes a world of a difference. And it'll be so sad when he does eventually leave, but it's just great that we get to see him for one more year. I don't think any City fan can complain about that. Next up, we've got more good news. De Bruyne's injury, the recovery is going great, and he said at the FIFA 19 launch that he needs 3, 4, or 5 weeks to come back, and even in his worst case of 5 weeks to come back, that still means he gets to come back before a game against Spurs and obviously the derby too. And we just know how integral he is to the team, and the sooner he gets back the better. But to see that everything's going perfect really, just such great news, and he can't come back quick enough. But I would rather him come back closer to the 5 weeks if that's what it takes, because I don't want it to be a recurring thing. I want him to be back when he's at his best. I think we can cope without him until then, but either way, he should be back by the derby in his words, and I think that's his main goal. He wants to get back for the game against United, but it's just such great news, and we're just going to have to wait and see when he does actually come back. But the recovery can't really be going any better for us as fans, because there was worries that he'd be out for a good few months, but for him to potentially be back in 3 weeks is just crazy. And City's team for recovery is just unbelievable, and that De Bruyne's in good hands and will come back when he's ready to, and they won't let him come back a second before, I'm sure. And Pep will be making sure that he gets all the time off that he needs. And me, along with all of you other City fans, just can't wait to see him back, and hopefully that'll be sooner rather than later. And in not so good injury news, we've got Benjamin Mendy. As you can see from Simon Stone over at BBC Sport, it's been established that he's got damage to his fifth metatarsal, which is toe related. And I'm stupid, so I don't really know what that means, but whenever I see the big fancy words like metatarsal, it never seems to be an injury that's only going to last like 7 days or something. So I think it's safe to say that, based on this stupid theory that I've got about the big words, I don't think he's going to be coming back too soon, and that's just not what you want. I think Delph can hold down the fort, and we're in good hands, assuming he doesn't have any more howlers like he did against Lyon the other night. Apart from that, he is good enough to hold down the fort, I think, but he just doesn't have that same attacking prowess that Mendy has, and that's such a big part of the team. I've got to imagine he's our top assister so far this season, because he's just constantly getting them crosses into the box and people getting on the end of it. But we're sure going to miss him, but the show must go on, and I think we're in good hands with Delph. But I'm just praying that he doesn't have a performance like the one against Lyon anytime soon, and until Mendy comes back, he's all we've got really. Maybe we could put Zinchenko in there as well, but he's not really a left back. Although I would like to see him get some game time. There's not been too much word about him. We've been hearing about how Foden's not getting enough game time, but Zinchenko has just not really been talked about at all. I would like to see him get some game time, so maybe he could be rotated with Delph for a bit. But obviously it's not optimal because we want Mendy playing really, but nothing we can do until then. It's annoying that we don't have any sort of timeline on when he's going to be back, but hopefully it's not too bad. That's it for the major stories really, but there's a few other little things that I figured might be worth including. We've got David Silva first of all, has become City's fifth player to score 50 plus Premier League goals, and I think that's worth mentioning because it's just a great accomplishment really, especially considering he's not a striker. He's not really much of a goal scorer too, but for him to achieve that, he really is just the definition of a club legend at City. The other four people to do it were Tevez, Yaya Toure, Dzeko, and obviously Aguero. And yeah, it just is not that he needed this accomplishment to be established as a club legend, but it's just a nice little other accomplishment for him to have. And he's just such a great player, and I will be very sad when he leaves, presumably in 2020. And then we've also got Fernandinho has been left out of the Brazil squad. He's 33 now. It's probably the end of his international career, so I'm not sure he'll be too bothered about that because Silva's just retired from international football and he's not as old as Fernandinho, and he had a few shaky moments at the World Cup, so Brazil aren't too keen on having him back. But you've got the other usual faces in the team though, like Ederson, Danilo and Gabriel Jesus. So good for them, bad for Fernandinho, but like I said, it's not the end of the world for him really. And then the last thing is Mendy. He's been banned from driving for 1 year because he failed to say who's been speeding in his car basically. And there's not really too much to say about it, to be honest. He needs to just pull himself together. But he's still young, so hopefully there'll be less of these stupid headlines in the future. And yeah, there's not really anything to say about it. Just sort yourself out, Mendy. And that's everything for the week that's significant. Let me know what you thought about it. And yeah, see you next time.